Well, I'm live. I hope you can hear me. I have no clue what I'm doing. Okay, let's see. Oh, I can share screen. Bear with me because this is a learning experience and I'm doing it all by myself. Hi, I'm Jewel Starsinger. You probably know me. If not, welcome and hello. Okay, so today is the day for Dennis Prager said, I saw him online. When people stop believing in God, they don't believe in nothing. I mean, nothing. We'll get into that. They believe in anything. So, what does that mean? I think that's what's going on. I think it's really quite brilliant. Believing in anything. Here, let's get a good view on my diagram. There we go. All right. I hope you can hear me. If this doesn't work, then just tell me I can't hear you. I've got the little streamy thing going, the chat. So if anyone's there, you can tell me I can't hear you. That would be helpful. And in the long run, this is all going to be amazing. Totally amazing. So they say. They tell me this, and I have faith. What is faith? Faith is believing in everything. Or is it one thing? I don't know. That's what we're going to try and figure out. Um, what do you believe in? And oh, these glasses just look like the crazy professor, don't they? Yes, they do. What do you believe in? And why do you believe it? And who told you that? See, because that to me, belief is what did they tell you? And how old were you at when they told you that? Why do you believe it? Well, it's a childish thing, I think. Children believe in Santa. And then we just continue that until we grow up and we believe in whatever else story we want to believe. And why do we believe it? Because people of authority have assured us that it's worthy. That is a worthy belief. Now, in terms of belief, what's the difference between belief and faith? Because belief is an idea that you can talk about. It has words, it has dogma. Dogma, that's what dogma is. It's the words that you use to describe something in your head. And belief doesn't exist, it's an idea or a feeling or something numinous. Do you know numinous? I love that word. Numinous means untouchable, but you know it's there, but you can't touch it. Also, I think numinous means there aren't any words for that either. So what do you think? Can you have words for your faith? Do you have any words for your faith? Can you tell me what words do you use to describe faith? I mean, we can look it up in the dictionary. Boy, I wonder, wouldn't that be fun if I could actually learn how to do a stream and share my screen? Oh, yeah. That would be so cool. I just got my Mac back, so I'm trying to figure out the digital world, which really is not where I live. Maybe it is though. Think about it. Digital is non-existent. It's airy fairy. It's energy. It's code. Isn't that what numinosity is? I don't know. I'm still trying to figure it out. Always with my words, and whenever I start working with words, I just get more confused. And yet I'm compelled to do so. Why is that? I mean, words seem to be a problem these days because they don't mean what they used to mean. And I don't know how many times you've been around the sun, but I've been around the sun 74 times. So I've watched a lot of words change over this time. I have. My granny said the same thing. See, my granny was born in 1900, almost a century and a half ago. And she used to say, when she was a girl, I love saying that too, but when she was a girl, they had an ice box, which means the ice guy came by with his big tongs that pokey into the ice block and brought it and drag it in and put it in the ice box. It was a box with insulation of some sort. And that's where they kept things cool because they didn't have a refrigerator. I think they had power, but maybe, I don't know, in 1900, maybe not everybody did have power. Who knows? I don't. I should have looked it up, but I can't keep up with myself. So you look it up for me. How about that? You could tell me. Anyway, she said, and then when I was born in 1950, then they had airplanes. So by the time I was old enough to understand words from my granny, she was telling me about how amazing air flight was, from the icebox to the airplane. And people just normally getting on an airplane and flying up into the sky and going somewhere and landing and being elsewhere. That was pretty amazing to my granny. So now, for me, what big changes have I seen? Well, television screens. Because when I was born in 1950, screens were not known. I think they had invented them, but they were not in our homes. And they certainly weren't this GUI, this graphic interface that they are now. So we got TV when I was 1956. I remember because it was a big deal. And there wasn't color, it was black and white. And the shows were all innocuous, and the whole family sat and watched for 30 minutes, and then we were done. That's what we got. I think the parents would watch Walter Cronkite, one of the news guys. And that was it. And at 10 o'clock, the little screen came with the Indian feathers. It was like, you're done. Goodbye. No more screen today. We'll see you again in the morning. I think it was probably maybe 12 hours of broadcasting, and that was all. So it's quite different because now we do not see the same thing. And individuality is our God. Oh, do you hear the purr? Batman. Here. Oh, bless him. Is he cute? He's my boy. Batman is purring. So, individuation. Interesting. We're in a dilemma, a conflict. Let me put my mic here. I want to be sure I'm not being stupid. All right. Individuation. Are you a person alone? You have wants and needs, but are you alone? Did you figure everything out by yourself? Who helped you? Who told you that? These are questions you need to ask all the time, not just once. All the time you need to ask yourself, who taught me that? Where did I hear that? It's really important to do this, and I'll tell you why. Because once you do that, you can dive in to the context of the idea, to the context. And context is wholeness. Context is goddess energy. Now, on my diagram behind me, you'll see the little squiggles and which way do I go? There we go. Squiggles and hi, Batman. We want to see the thing. All right, so this is my artistic expression of the Kabbalistic tree of life, which is my favorite diagram because what it does is it gives the yin, the yang, which is male, female, and the center. So it's three pillars. One is negative, one is positive, and one is I don't know if it's neutral. The center is the combination. Now, the reason I use this is because it's easy and graphic and simple, and we need that because this stuff can be very confounding. But if you can simplify it, then you can sort of sort out the pieces and then put them back together in a way, in a construct, and that helps me. That helps me to understand because I'm always doing this. I'm trying to understand, but my brain won't understand because we're all neurodivergent, but my neurodivergence says I'm not linear. That's what mine does. Mine is all gushy. And I like to understand through the physical because for me, and I can do the astrology for you, and that's always fun. And when I figure out how to show my screen, I'll show you. In the meantime, we'll just talk about it with the words, which, oh well, I'll do my best. Maybe poetry. Poetry's good. So we have a construct, we have a whole, like an egg. So what, we're in an egg, it's a cell, the biological part of being is holy. It is just as holy as the metaphysical spiritual part that we can't see or touch, that we can experience through a knowing that we can't explain. So either side, the yin and the yang side, are wordless. Because if you go up to the father side, up here at the top of the masculine side, it's just flashes of light. And each flash has an idea in it. So boing, boing, idea, idea. So, when you get those downloads, I call them, it's from that father energy, that masculine yang energy that's like, but he doesn't know where to go. He doesn't have any place, you see. And that's why we're a trinity. We are not a duality. We're the third thing. Creation is the third thing. The gods are black and white. We're not black and white, and our world is not black and white. We are in a gray place. We're in the twilight spot where the two are merged. I like to use the idea that we are the mixture. So if you put an apple and a banana in a blender, let's say the banana is the one side and the apple is the other. I could use different things though. See, I can't ever stop extrapolating. The next thing, maybe a piece of hamburger and a banana. Yeah, anyway, point being, they're very different. Yeah, let's do that. Let's do two very different things. You mix up light and dark. You mix up meat and fruit, and you put it in a blender. And if you push the button, when you push the button, that's where you have, what do they call it? Coherence. That's where you have the mixture created. You push that button and you won't ever see a banana in that blender bottle again. You won't ever see that ground meat again. It'll be a congealed mess. I guess we're a congealed mess. In other words, when you combine light and dark, you no longer have light and dark. So it's really silly for us to be fighting over right and wrong, bad and good, because we are made from both. Now, the reason I got so excited this morning when I saw Dennis Prager, it's probably from an older video, but he said when people stop believing in God, they don't believe in nothing, they believe in anything. And now we're in a world where we're believing that men can menstruate and that people can change their sexuality, they can change their sex, the sex of their body. And that's not true. And yet we're all being lawfully enforced to say so, even though pretty much most people, I mean, a few want to believe it, but most of us don't. Most of us just go, they're crazy. We'll just, eh. But the problem with going, is that it's allowing for a juggernaut to roll over us. Because actually, there are people being punished for thinking that men don't menstruate. Now that's really not good. That's not okay. All right. So, can you live with that? Does that work for you? That you might not think so, but you would actually be punished if you said it out loud, or in some places maybe that you actually thought it and didn't say it, and for some weird reason, maybe because there was a chip in your head or somebody put a thing near you that could read your mind, and then you would go and get punished and put in a box because you had wrong thought. See, that's kind of what we're looking at, and that's why we have to say no. So let's talk about this idea of saying of no thing and anything. They don't believe in nothing. Words are so hard with this stuff. No thing is God. That's the whole point. He's not a thing. The he, the ideation of the God is no thing. That's the whole point of it being numinous, of being miraculous, of being mysterious, and that we cannot understand him because he is a he, the mind is a he, the left brain is a he. But see, as people, as the construct between the he and the she, we are left brain, right brain. That's what the diagram is showing us. We're made from the two. We're made from those two entities. There are two gods, not one. Just because we happen to be able to touch the feminine, which is physical, doesn't mean she's not holy. So we've been in an unholy state of saying the mother, the physical, is not holy. And when we've done that for all these thousands of years, we have created a juggernaut of confusion and cruelty. I mean, life is cruel. The mother's cruel. The mother nature, she kills you. She brings you in and takes you out. That's maybe why, this whole thing started, because people were like, she's killing me. She's going to kill me. And the lighty God part with the no body part, he's like, well, we'll just have light. We don't need all that icky, cruel stuff or that reality stuff. That's icky. We'll just stick with the light. So they chose one side over the other. When in truth, you can't do that if you're a blender mixture and you are both. And being both is the problem right now that people aren't seeing because they are taking sides. And you need to know that in this level of being, there aren't any sides. Now, the problem with that is knowing there are limits. Now, if you look at the diagram, think of it with like a chute, like a little chute. Let's say there's a cattle chute. And it's got sides. And if you start bouncing off the sides and pinging back and forth like a pinball game, well, ding, 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 that might hurt. Maybe better if you stay closer into the center and sort of just flow relaxedly down the river rather than banging up against the sides. Now, we like to bang up against the sides because it shows us our limits, for sure, pretty certain. And I think that's what's happening now with the political chaos that we're living in. It's an important thing to understand. Now, understanding, that's where we get into some of the neurodivergence topics that I like to check out, because neurodivergence can be yin or yang. You can have the guys that are just so left brain, so thinking about the details and the parts that they don't see that stuff around them. That's one, that's like, I guess that's Asperger's, or, that's like a masculine kind of neurodivergence. But there's a feminine neurodivergence, and you don't have to be man or woman either. I mean, these are the extremes over here on my graph. The feminine neurodivergence is called inattentive, only because in the feminine, we don't attend to those details. We attend to the numinous. There are levels where the body is the feminine receptacle of all of the stuff that happened in the higher realms of my little diagram, and it filters down in layers. But the higher levels of the feminine here, that's all mist. And I like to say it's when you spread Vaseline on the lens. In other words, you can't see clearly in that realm. So what am I getting at? How do I say this in English and not make you just run away? What the numinous feminine does is put on a lot of different I call it dressing up. It's like cosplay. You're going to dress up in an outfit and see if it's comfortable on you. Oh, excuse me. So you try it on. And I think that's what's happening now. Culture is we're trying on different outfits, political outfits, social outfits to see how they fit. And depending on how crazy it is or how uncomfortable it is, then we can back out of that and go, okay, well, that's the limit. So in terms of this trans stuff, it's like, yes, girls feel like boys sometimes, and boys feel like girls sometimes because we are made from a mommy and a daddy. We have the qualities of the numinous goddess, physical, manifesting inside the blender jar, and the masculine ideation of the father, the light, the brightness that animates us. We contain both, but we contain it in a mixture that can't be separated from itself. You can't reach in the blender and pull the banana out after you've pushed the button. Yeah, that makes sense. So, my idea here is that we need to understand what we're up to, and understanding requires a certain amount of filio. It's like a play. That's why drama is so important. And that's why it's so important to be in a drama. Why do you think we have school music and school plays? They seem really stupid, but they're not. Because they're not professionally done, it's like, oh, that's just kids. But what you need to realize is we are all just kids, and we are all just doing our dramas all the time. We're practicing our dramas all the time. Who are you in the play? Are you the hero, the victim? Are you the lady over here who cook, the cook, the chef? These are all characters that we understand on some level. Everybody has all 12 archetypes from astrology in them. We're made up of all those energies. Some of them are more prominent in some people than others. So, in terms of our modern desire, this DEI thing, to include everybody, yes, let us say that we want to include everybody, whether we think they're weird or not. Okay, fine. But just because somebody has a claim to their own flavor of weird doesn't mean that they're qualified to perform a task that maybe another person who's weird would make them qualified to do it, that they should replace each other. In other words, when you replace someone who's very good at math with someone who is a poet, you're not going to go to the moon. You need math people plotting the chart to the moon. But you also need to say, that's important, yes, but guess what else is important? That the poet shares these amazing combinations of words that evoke your feelings that you need to share and see and relate to with others. Both of those things matter. And what's happening right now is certain individuals are saying only their perspective matters. Theirs is the only one archetype out of 12 that is important and that we want to see, and that is not okay. It's not. So how do we reconcile this? Well, we have to use our goddess. I've got a leaf in front of her. She's here. We have to use our goddess of discretion, because the top goddess is the goddess of total inclusion. She is the one that says you can believe anything. All right. So as Prager said, if you believe in nothing, claim to be an atheist, then that means you can believe in anything. And anything is a lie. And that top goddess, that numinous goddess, she accepts everything. She doesn't make any judgments. And so we're in this phase now where we're not supposed to make any judgments. We're supposed to allow any insane, crazy statement that is wrong. It doesn't matter because we're in that numinous goddess time of Neptune. And she's like, oh, I love everything. But why does she accept everything? Her job then is to understand all this stuff, no matter how weird. And that is a point of importance in terms of empathy and compassion and that sort of thing. But below her is this other goddess who is judgment and discernment. And her job, then she's the daughter of the everything gal. And then her daughter is like, well, wait a minute, Mom. I see that you have accepted so many so much of everything. You've just it's everything. But I am going to narrow my focus and I'm going to go, okay, well, now I understand that feels uncomfortable to me. So I'm going to not do that. And I'm going to look over here. I'm going to say, oh, okay, that's better. That feels okay. And that makes me feel what I need to feel in this situation. Maybe I need to feel proud about that, or maybe I need to feel competent with that. So, in other words, they're the daughter of the numinous goddess who is just everything goes. I'll believe anything. Her kid, her daughter, is the one who says no, 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 not that, not that, not that, not that. And it is a requirement of our growth and our prosperity that we learn to say no at the right time. And that's where we're at now. We're trying to learn to say no to certain things. And there's a big fight about it because some of us have glorified the victim. And the top lady, she is all about victims. Saints and sinners, they all go in the same bucket with her. But her daughter, the discriminator, she says, no, 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 you can't do this. You can't do this. You can't do this. You cannot. All right, here's the thing. I think that the two, the light, the dark, the God, the goddess that we cannot name, that combine to make the blender smoothie, those two are in a sexual relationship, and they are entities that are sexual. And so what we have then, if the two are making us in a union of a key inside a lock, and when that key turns, the door opens, and here we are, the blended version. To me, that makes sex holy. And I think that we need to pull it back to being private, special, and holy. Because having it be out in the open, flaunted, it's nothing to be proud of. Your sexuality is nothing to be proud of. Your sexuality is your life, and it is sacred. We've entered into an era of extreme profanity because we have forgotten, we haven't been instructed or educated in this idea that life is a holy thing. And you don't have to be any special religion, because religion is dogma, it's words. So we're in a construct between the wording of it and the experiencing of it. I think the Christ said, you're supposed to experience it. You're here. This is it. This is the kingdom. And this diagram behind me is the language that tells you that is true. So, believing in nothing makes you believe in anything, which is why we need to go back to believing in the divine. Now, the Christians want you to believe in their version, The Muslims want you to believe in their version. The Jews want you to believe in their version. It's all the same entities, different names. That's all. Now, I never could get on my knee and say that there's a savior for me because I needed to do the work myself. I needed to understand the work myself. So I rejected that. And my brother became a Christian and wanted me to say the words. But I never could. And I couldn't understand why. Why not just say it, Jewel? Just say it, spit it out. Well, I know why it is now because I needed to discover with all of this gobbledygook. And I went through psychology and anthropology. Is it social? Is it personal? Is it religious? When I went to the churches, all the different ones, and I never could be satisfied because my faith had to come from my search. Not everybody is that way. I'm that way because of my unique makeup. But some people just need to hear the words and just, okay, that works. That works for me. But what happens when you have a oneness mentality, which the one male God is the God of all the three major religions, no matter what name you call him or how many people you murder in any of those names. The problem then is oneness. That is what's got us hung up. Oneness is confusing. And that's because if you don't understand how this diagram works, I'm pointing, I just can't do this left right thing. It's so funny. This left right thing is so important to get because once you get this left right thing, and this is the Taoist perspective, which is my favorite thing, it just resonates with me that if I can bounce off the two sides and bring it back into my center, then I am in a space where I know that there's nothing evil or good outside of me, and that I need to make the choices about my direction, about my faith, about what I'm going to do, what I am doing or not. So, see, that sounds so washy washy, like, oh, we need something definite. We need to have definition. But do we? How much definition do we need? Some. Remember, the daughter of the numinous, anything goes goddess is a very selective energy. She says no. So there's a lot of different levels of the powers of these gods and goddesses. And the one God thing is not enough. One God is not enough. I say, give God back his wife. God had a wife in the long past days. And when I saw Dr. Justin Sledge talk about the Bible and how the ash tree that they cut down all the ash trees, and that was all about murdering the goddess, killing God's wife. Let's just kill that bitch. So there's that. And so the one God religions are anti-feminine. They just are. And we don't, and they say, oh, the return of the goddess, and that's what the women are into. But the point is not to bring back the feminine. The feminine's always been here. The feminine is here, always has been. It cannot be otherwise, because if she's not here, then you can't know God. If you don't have your little body with your little brain and your little thoughts and your little genuflections and all your little permutations of you, if you don't exist, God doesn't exist. It's that simple. God is known through us. And the critters, they have gods. They just don't have words to express it. Because to me, faith is this life now. The faith that I'm talking to you now is my faith. That is a miracle. This now is a miracle. Yeah. That's how I view it. And if that helps you at all, then I'm happy. And I hope you can tell me if it helps you, because I'd like to know. Okay, I could go on, which I do, but I'm not going to. I'm going to stop here and I'm going to say thank you for watching, and I will have another one up soon. This is astrology and beyond, because beyond, right? And I'm here to help. I'm here to observe and comment, and I hope it helps. Okay, how do I shut this thing off? Okay, end stream.